Welcome. Hello and welcome to the Charlotte O'Tremba Show. My name is Charlotte and this is my show. Thank you so much for joining me. We're back with a solo episode today because we're overdue and I just wanted to talk to you guys and I feel like there's so much to catch up on. First of all, we have some great advice questions coming in today. Coming in hot. So I'm pumped for that. Second of all, my toe is healing, which is a huge deal. But obviously you might not know this if you're listening because really only three people know this. So shout out Catherine. I was lucky enough to be in her sketch that she wrote and directed, and we were shooting this past weekend. And in her apartment, there's this step up to her bathroom, but it's black and it is some kind of marble or hard stone. And I obviously did not see that and obviously was plowing into the bathroom at 90 miles per hour. Like my entire life depended on getting into this bathroom. You know the feeling after a train ride when you got to go to the bathroom. And stubbed my toe so bad that I said sorry to myself. I was like, oh, sorry. Little did I know. So the rest of the day, it kind of hurts after that. Rest of the day keeps hurting. And I'm kind of like, dang it. And I have to take some Advil. And then I take my sock off and to look at it. And it is already bruising. It's already black and blue after a couple of hours. So that's good. And then from there, it just continues to get worse. I get home and take off my boot and it is hurting so bad and I have to ice it and raise it. By the next day, my entire big toe is bruised and the whole upper half of my foot is bruised. This bruise was I cannot be confined to one toe. I am going for the foot. And it did. And the whole thing looked so bad. Hurt a lot, but I don't think I still don't, knock on wood. I think if it were broken, I would literally not be able to bend it or walk, right? You'd be kind of down for the count. I can still walk and stuff. It just hurts. And by now, it's been 4 or 5 days or something. It's basically fine. Still some bruising, still hurts a little, but I can bend it. And I'm just making sure not to jump on it. So I've been doing low impact work this week. Just some mat work. Just some light stretches. Just some chair work. Just sitting in my chair. Just gotta listen to your body, man. Just listen to your body. So I did. I listened to my body. Coco is doing well. Thanks for asking. Coco is my cat who I adopted, if you're listening and you don't know, and it was a whole thing when we adopted her. Lately, most recently, this poor little kitty had to go to the vet because, this is not exactly why, but it's related. I woke up one morning to, I was just going about my day, making coffee, and then I started moving a couple of boxes that I had to the hallway. I usually leave boxes from deliveries out for a little bit for her because she likes to sit in them, cat life. And I started bringing them to the door, and then I noticed something fall out by the door, and I looked down, and it is a small dead mouse. So I'm like, oh my God. And it is not decomposing, so it is freshly killed or freshly dead, but no not bloody or anything. So I throw that out and I tell Coco how proud I am of her, and then I also get mildly concerned that there was a mouse in this apartment that I had no idea about. But she is such a good kitty. We're so proud of her. Whole thing. She also kills another mouse like a week later. So now, hopefully, we are mouse free, and now hopefully the mice know not to come in this apartment. Because Coco's on patrol. Coco watches the little vent where the radiator is, because I think that's where they sneak in from, like from the pipes. And so she's been on patrol, and then we also moved her food, because the food was right next to it, so they must have maybe smelled the food or something. So anyway, food has been moved, Coco has taken charge, and she's like, no mice here. The second one she left under the chair for us. I was like, Coco, I don't want to find this. And then I don't know how to move it, so I took freaking tongs, like kitchen tongs that you cook with, and I just like picked it up and just kind of like plopped it in the garbage. Like, I feel so guilty, but I also know it's nature's way, and it's just like this whole thing. Oh, it just hurts your soul. So anyway, then a few days later, she was sitting on the bed and she gets up and we notice all of these rice thingies. They look like rice. And we're like, that's weird. Do a quick Google. It's a symptom of a tapeworm. So great. And meanwhile, this whole time she's also still had this like runny eye that I keep being like, it's getting better. It's getting better. And it's like, all right, it's been a month. It's not getting better. Okay, so I have to take her to the vet. And this was so sad. She was like the most forlorn meows in the carrier, and we get there and the vet is so nice. Because of COVID, you basically just like give her to the vet, and then he like calls you from inside and then takes her back out. And he said that she was shaking and so scared. Broke my little heart. Like, she thought she was like leaving. But then brought her home. It was okay. And now I have to put freaking ointment on this cat 3 times a day. And the vet tells us that she has feline herpes virus, which is basically just like, it's not like herpes like humans get. It's like feline herpes virus, which is basically just what would be like a flu virus, but it's just always there in her, and it'll just flare up like this eye in times of stress. My little heart. And she's had so much stress. So he recommended we buy this plug-in that emits feline hormone or pheromones that make her feel safe. So we have this plug-in now, and she feels safe, and I put ointment on her, and she's doing a lot better. Little Coco. Oh, what a time. What a time to be Coco, you know? Now she's just chilling. She feels better. And she's so good. Okay. I wanted to get into this because I have so many thoughts with Khloe Kardashian. Because I don't know if you've been up to date on this drama. There's been like 2 sets of drama. The most recent one was that she or somebody from her team allegedly accidentally posted this unfiltered, unedited photo of her on Instagram. And then it was promptly taken down, but then other people saw it and started freaking out, like, oh my god, a natural photo of Khloe. A rarity in the wild. And I want to say, like, I like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I watch it. Like, yeah, sometimes it's a little much, but I don't, like, hate them with a vengeance like some people do. So then they keep trying to, like, scrub this photo from the internet. Like, there are screenshots of Kim Kardashian reaching out on Instagram to different accounts to take it down. Like, statements, like, left and right. Like, the very act of being so over the top about trying to get this photo down made people more interested in this photo. And then Khloe has this whole statement about being like, you know, you don't know what it's like growing up in the media, and, you know, people always telling me I'm the fat sister. And then later, or if it's the same post that goes with the post, is this like video of her jumping up and down, like just holding her boobs to I guess like prove that it's her body. The whole thing was so weird. It was just like, who are you proving this to? Like, we all know you work out and we all know you look great. Like, what? The whole thing just seemed like Stockholm syndrome. Like, she's like trying to prove to her captors of social media that her body is real. Like, we all know your body is real. Like, she had a freaking show called Revenge Body. We know you work out. Relax. Like, you're missing the point. Everyone was actually like happy that you finally posted an unedited photo of yourself, and instead you're like reacting as if everybody was like, oh my god, look at this ugly photo of her. Oh, and I know how I'll make it better. I'll post another unedited video of myself. Like, if you had just left the photo, no one would have cared. Just let the story die. And then, this was great. I was listening to Andrew Schultz, and he's right. I totally agree with him. He was saying, and the whole crew on that podcast was saying, like, you know, you can't be a victim of standards you helped create. Like, it is because of the Kardashians that there's this, like, extreme body type and face type that girls everywhere are trying to imitate, insane, unrealistic body proportions, and this, like, extreme, ageless face and look. And, like, it's because of you that the standards are so high. So if you're upset about those standards coming down on you, then like blame yourself. Like, you can't, I think Andrew Schultz is calling it blood money, which is kind of funny. It's like, you can't like make something and then be a victim of it. Just like own it and say, like, I recognize that our family has like shoved our images down your throat for years and altered an entire generation of girls' expectations and body image issues, like created a whole new sense of body image issues. Like, when I was growing up, it was like you saw everybody on magazines that were like, you know, heroin chic, quote unquote, or like, you know, as thin as you can be, like not healthy thin, like I don't eat thin, and then like the super low rise jeans, right? And now at least like this is a little bit healthier. Like, people are like at the gym more and okay with eating and things like that. But like, you know, definitely more people are getting work done to their face. And like, you're a big part of that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just kind of drove me crazy. And then on top of that, like, this is what's also sad is that then, you know, there's more reports about Tristan cheating on her when they're supposedly back together. And I started watching the new season. I actually started rooting for Tristan. I was like, he seems like a nice guy. He seems to really care about Khloe, seems to want to be around the family, that he's kind of funny. And now this chick like releases screenshots, basically a no-name Instagram model, and then this has helped her propel herself into mainstream tabloids. And I don't know. It's just sad because it's like playing into exactly Khloe's clear insecurities about her body. And I don't know, think she made a mistake. I don't think she should have gotten back together with him. I mean, it's quite clear. Or they need to go into couples counseling and say, like, why are you doing this? Because this isn't like, oh, ran into someone at a party and got drunk. This is like seeking somebody out on Instagram and messaging them. Like, this is active cheating. This isn't like, not that there's like a, you know, but I just feel like in the rankings of bad cheating, like this is up there because it is active. It's not passive. It's not like somebody came on to you and you were at a party and you were drunk and didn't have your senses or something. Still bad. And also just like anybody that's getting into those situations wants to get into those situations no matter what, right? And if you're looking elsewhere, then there are clearly like issues with the relationship that you don't want to talk about or you don't care to fix. Anyway, I feel bad, but I also don't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like she, unfortunately, is, I mean, I don't know, it's hard. I don't have a kid. I don't know what that's like. Like, you probably want to make it happen, but I think there can't be a gray area like there was. It seemed like there was a gray area. Coco just freaking went in her litter box and made a big ol' sound of scraping, lots of scraping noises, and then just saunters out like she didn't just interrupt my recording. Yeah. Glad she's healthy. Anyway, that's the whole Khloe thing. Yeah, and the season, honestly, if anybody's watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I don't recommend it. This season, it's so freaking boring. They are just scraping for drama. Like, and the thing is, that's even worse, is there is all this drama happening behind the scenes. Kim is going through a divorce, and they're not showing any of it. Instead, we just gotta watch, like, this freaking, like, obstacle course that they do to prove who's more athletic. It was an abysmal showing. Why are we watching them do this? Next up, Summer House. I don't know if any of you watch Summer House, but if you do, is Hannah the worst person ever? Yes or yes? Honestly, I can see now why Lon will be like, oh, I can't watch this, it makes me anxious. And I honestly have been getting anxious. Like, I don't know if I can watch another season if she's on. Because this whole dynamic was so stressful. And honestly, none of these disagreements would have happened if she just would have been like, oh yeah, I'll like start pulling my weight more with cleanup. That's where it all started from. Just be like, oh yeah, I haven't taken out the trash, I'll take it out. That was so hard to say. And then it freaking spiraled. Okay, I can't talk about Summer House anymore. I feel like I analyze it so much with Becca. Becca, shout out Becca. I watched the season premiere of Real Housewives of New York. It's fine. It's feeling a little stale. Hopefully Ebony brings it. Chris D'Elia has been coming back with his podcast. He released that video, as you all saw, basically saying, I think I mentioned this already. So Chris D'Elia is a comedian, and there was this sort of like Twitter storm of women who were girls that Chris D'Elia reached out to on Instagram, and sort of like all these, and like different like weird sort of experiences that girls had with him inviting them to his hotel room, and him like, you know, kind of like grooming them, quote unquote, and just being like kind of a creeper. Nothing super extreme that came out, just like, you know, creepy. And he's like 36 reaching out to like 17-year-olds. Okay, so then there was this lawsuit that came out with a Jane Doe who was alleging, basically the only charges I think she could get was like child pornography charges based on, you know, him soliciting photos from her when she was underage in different states depending on the age of consent. And, you know, the whole thing read like this really toxic relationship, except for the fact that she was 16, 17, and he was like 35, 36. So it just was super creepy. Now, she has dropped the charges, but something without contest, or there's some line in it that means that basically she can bring these charges to him again. Like it's not so settled or whatever that she can't charge him in the future. So that means, I don't know if they were just like, there's not enough here to get this, to win this, or if it's like they settled with a payment, unclear. And, you know, in his, not apology video, but just like video saying, you know, I'm back, he said that everything was consensual, and basically that he was obsessed with sex, and that he was in therapy, and that he cheated on all of his partners. I don't know. Are there like any good ones left? Like, can you be friends with anybody? Like, is everybody a creeper? Everybody that I think is funny. It's just sad. It's just sad to me. Anyway, and he's just continuing on with his podcast, and yeah, and has a Patreon now. Everybody has a Patreon. Maybe I should get a Patreon. Patreon? How do you say it? Patreon? Oh, love it. Yo, Whitney Cummings. Can we talk about Whitney? Whitney Cummings, I fucking love you. But what is going on, girl? Every every time I see a new Instagram post from Whitney Cummings, it is new color hair and a different, like, close-up of a naked body part, or, like, almost naked body part. And I'm just like, girl, what's going on? And, like, I actually really like her podcast. I think she asks good questions. And she's obviously really smart and super driven and is so successful and all of this. And then I feel like right now she's just in her, like, mid-career crisis where she's like, all right, fuck it all. Purple, blue, pink hair, like, hanging out with her horses, like, on this farm with, like, some of her cronies. They all just, like, wander around, and then they get these, like, dope guests to come hang out, and they shoot the shit for, like, an hour and a half, and then get into these, like, random deep convos. And then her talking about, like, gender roles and the differences between, you know, biologically female versus male brains, just, like, the differences in... But that's the thing, is, like, she definitely, like, leans in hard to this idea that the female brain and the male brain are inherently different and that they are set in stone. And that's just such... And yes, there are differences, of course, because, like, bodies have hormones and, you know, different parts and different, you know, biological purposes, you know. But I think, like, if you, like, lean in so hard that, like, oh, men only have this and women only have this, or act like this or want this, then it just leaves no room for growth and leaves no room for a gray area and can, like, almost be just as harmful as the societal gender expectations and roles, you know, that people already feel. And, you know, and I think, and then that's hard, and she'll just sort of say, like, all men want this, all men do this. And I don't know, like, I know it's comedy, but I feel so conflicted about this because I feel like if you and it's humor and you're, like, reacting to what you see in your life, but I almost feel like it just becomes more dangerous because then, like, anybody watching that set will, like, obviously recognize truths and then lean in harder and will, like, remember those truths every time something happens and then always point them out, and then, like, they'll become magnified and then the behavior will become more intense. I mean, maybe that's, like, a huge leap, but I don't know. Because no, all men are not, like, creepers, like, you know, reaching out to 16-year-olds on Instagram. There are a lot of really great ones. So you can't, like, say that. I don't know, just because you want to encourage the men that are not like that to, like, call out. But then I guess that's the beauty of, like, calling out that behavior is, like, then, like, hopefully their cohorts will call it out. But then, like, the danger is that they'll just think that that's, like, normal and what happens, and we can just make fun of it because that behavior is set in stone and it's not going to change. And then, like, I think what also makes me feel conflicted about Whitney Cummings is, like, she'll say all of this about how men, you know, objectify women and this and that. And then she posts objectifying photos of herself, or, like, posts photos of her just in her bra, or, like, just in her boobs, or, like, just her crotch. And, like, it just seems, like, so antithetical to everything she's talking about. And, like, I thought, like, trying to call out to affect change. Now, like, yeah, there's the argument that by posting these photos of herself, she's sort of taking back power and saying I can post whatever I want about my body, but it also just, like, attracts that. I don't know. I just, like, don't know how I feel. Because it just feels, like, so distracting to, like, her main points. I don't know, but then it's like, of course she should be able to post whatever she wants, and I'm not saying she shouldn't post it. It just, like, feels confusing. Like, I don't go to her. I guess this is what it is. It's like, I don't engage with her content and listen to her podcast and go to her Instagram to see her boobs. Like, I don't care about her boobs. I go to her Instagram because I want to, like, watch and listen to more clips of these amazing conversations she has with her guests. So I just, like, feel this disconnect. I'm like, who is this person? I guess maybe it's just like a personal thing. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on Whitney Cummings. And I love Whitney Cummings. I want to work with Whitney Cummings. Whitney, if you are listening to this, I want to work with you. And I think we can talk about this. Honestly, I feel like this would be a great conversation for Whitney's podcast. So Whitney, if you're listening, I would love to come talk about this with you on your podcast. I think we could do some reading ahead of time. We could just like dive into the theories and then like just go into it. Shout out Whitney. All right. I think it's time for Wreck of the Week. Wreck of the Week. Wow, I really need Abby and Ella back here to sing. Wreck of the Week. Derma rolling. All right, shout out Eric. Eric was like, you got to get a derma roller. It'll change everything. I was like, no, I'm not putting that. No, I'm not putting that on my skin. Okay, got a $10 derma roller from Target. Changing my skin. I've only done it twice. My skin already feels smoother, and it's like taking some of the pimples down. I am not kidding you. So basically a derma roller is like just like this little roller with like tiny little needles, and it punctures your skin, and it's supposed to, 1, help products sink in better, and 2, stimulate collagen and regrowth. Dude, $10 one from Target. I'll link it in the description box. Get it. I clean it in alcohol solution before and after each use, and then I roll it, and then I do my regular skincare routine. Obviously, you have to have a clean face. So wash your face. Make sure your derma roller is cleaned in alcohol. I put some alcohol, ethyl alcohol, whatever, rubbing alcohol in a shot glass. Then I dip my little roller in, fits perfectly. Let it sit in there, disinfect, shake it off, do my face. I do like 10 to 20 rolls per section, and then put it back in the alcohol, and then do the rest of my skincare. I'm into it. So pumped. I mean, I got to be ready for Will and Magdalena's wedding. That is coming up so soon. It's next weekend. Isn't that crazy? They've changed venues again. We're not going to get into it. I was going to get a microneedling appointment, and then I was like, kind of panicked about like what it's going to do to my skin. So just got a derma roller instead. Just rolled the dice with self-mutilation. Yeah. Okay, let's go. It's time for advice. Yes. First question. Now that we're emerging from this pandemic, how do you make new friends post-COVID? I love this. I love this. It's tough. It's tough because I think during the pandemic, if we were socializing, it was within super narrow pods. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a tight-knit group of people that we trusted, and we'd see them, you know, one-on-one or like couple to couple, just like reducing chance of spread. Now we can see more people. I think the best way to make friends, there are 2 different ways. One is to go through friends of friends. So next time you're at a dinner where there are like friends of friends, I think like really, really take the time to talk one-on-one with other people there. Think of it as like dating. Like, all right, this is a chance to like meet someone new and feel them out at a party. And then I think at the end of the night, it's like easier almost because you can just be like, oh my God, like follow me on Instagram or like TikTok or whatever, like give your social handle. And then that way it's like less intense than your phone number. And you can sort of like send them stuff or say like, great to meet you last night, and like send DMs. And then next time you're like doing a group hang, you can invite them to come along. If you had something that you talked about that was like a similar interest, like boxing, I'll use this as an example. And then like you can invite them to a class that you go to. Say like, hey, you want to go see this exhibit? I was thinking about going. That's kind of the easiest way. And then the other way would be to look up joining some sort of like group. Now, I don't know how many of these are like back in business, but like maybe there's a sport, like I'm like really into pickleball, so I want to join like a pickleball like pickup league, you know, that are free, that like play in different like, you know, courts around the city. And then like that's a way to meet people. Or see if there's like a young person's charity board that you can join, and it's usually like, you know, pretty affordable, and then you can like meet them at the gatherings. And you just gotta be like really forward and just be like, okay, let's hang out. I think if you're honest and being like, you know, yeah, I'm just like, trying to meet more people. Most people are like, yeah, great. And if they're not, then you don't want to hang out with that person. Every person I've said that to has been like, yeah, me too. Because it's hard post-college. And now it is many years post-college. And it is like hard. You don't have a built-in community. And especially with work being remote right now, you don't have your pals. Next question. What do you say to someone who's not ghosting you technically, but basically is? Honey, you don't say anything. You just let it go. You let it go. If they're reaching out, but that they're not just to kind of string you along to keep you as an option, but they're not like asking to hang out, or if you've like offered to hang out and they haven't taken it, or they're sort of like, oh, I can't, maybe next week, and it's just sort of like being flaky, this person's not interested. I hate to say it. And it could be things outside of you. Could just be timing, could be what's going on in their life, but they're not interested right now. So just stop talking. There's no need to keep responding. You don't owe this person anything. There's no need to keep reaching out. You don't have time. You gotta go meet other people who want to hang out with you. No, if they're basically ghosting you, you don't need to like say anything about it. See ya. No need to respond. And if they finally, after you not responding, ask you to go do something, you should just say, thanks, I'm not really available right now. If after you ghosting them, they're suddenly interested, I think that's sort of like games, and I don't know if you really want to deal with that. So I think it's just time to close the door. When it's right, it's right. Do you know what I mean? You don't ever want to date somebody that's on the fence. Unless it's just like a casual thing, which is also great. Like, I feel like there's always this like negative connotation about like, people that you date that aren't going to be a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I still think that there are great people that come into your life for a certain phase of your life that are, like a learning experience, or just like somebody who's great, but you're not going to like get married one day. And I think that's okay. The issue arises is when you want something different than the other person wants. Maybe you want something more serious, or you want something more casual, and the other person wants the opposite. That's the problem. So basically, from the sound of this question, it just seems like you want something more serious with this person, and that person is not interested in that, and or doesn't really want to just like hang out casually, and so you guys are not on the same page, so you should not hang out. Okay, last question. I genuinely need help getting stains out of the whites of my laundry. Oh, feel that. Summer's coming. There's going to be so many whites. Okay, here's what I do. I take whites only. I put them in the wash. I put in regular detergent, and then I put like a shit ton of bleach. I put like a cup. I usually fill up the same cup from the laundry detergent, fill it up with bleach, and put it in there. And then I run it on hot. Hot, extra power wash, like super hot, burn it out, put a shit ton of bleach in there. Maybe if there's like a stubborn stain, you can pre-treat the stain, but really the bleach will work wonders, I promise you. And I live with a boy. And we have white towels. But the bleach thing really does work better. So just put a shit ton of bleach in there. Excuse my cursing. Just fucking bleach it. And before I go, I just want to let you all know that I just bought another blazer. So I've bought 3 blazers over quarantine. I have nowhere to go, really. Well, now I start to have places to go, but I don't know what's wrong with me, except for that blazers are the freaking best. So I got another one coming. It looks so dope. Bought it on Poshmark. It's blue and white striped, but like wide stripes. So cute for summer. So cute. So pumped. All right. Make sure to keep an eye out for this awesome sketch that Catherine wrote. I play this girl who has a freak out basically, and in one of the scenes I had a full meltdown in Central Park in front of people, and people started stopping. One kid, bless his little heart, even asked if I was okay. And Catherine was like, we're shooting. Other people just started filming. Oh, it was a day. Keep an eye out for What is New York. I am convinced somebody's going to be like, someone had a genuine freak out and didn't realize that it was a like shoot, and it's going to be submitted somewhere, so I'm pumped about that. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave a comment, and if you have any questions that you want answered on advice, reach out. All right, stay